One, two, three, four. Hi, it's Marty, and we are continuing today in regard to emotional healing. And with that, I just want to focus on one particular aspect of it today, and that is our memory. Our memory is very important to understanding emotional healing because it's what we've drawn on to think back, and we have those traumatic events and situations, and even our sometimes even traumatic lifestyle from our childhood that we've grown up with, and it has affected us. So with that, I just want to explain a few things in regard to that. And one is we've got to understand our memory. And there's two types of memory. And one is, I'm going to use computer terms, and that is RAM, random access memory. Well, RAM is like saying, well, it's what we process during the day. It's just day-to-day stuff. We do it, we fix it, we do it, we respond, we look at it and go, yeah, we can fix that, we do this, change that, drive here, go there, and we do things, and there's no consequence for it. Sometimes we remember it if we want to, we can dismiss it if we want to, and we even forget about it if it doesn't bother us. And that's the point. So the other part of our memory is, well, actually, I just want to explain, I want to give you an example, actually, of random access memory before I go on. And that is, well, think about it. The car that you're travelling in, you went somewhere, but do you remember the car in front of you? And you go, not really. Well, that's because it's a forgettable memory. That's what I call RAM. It goes in, information comes in, information goes out. There's no consequence. But what I want to really focus on is what's called vivid memory. And vivid memory is like where there's really an emotion attached with it. And what it is, it's like when you watch a movie, and there's particular scenes that really get your heart and really make you focus and really help you understand and really memorize it and make it impactful. And that's what's happened in our lives. We've been impacted by situations and that has happened and that has come into our lives, and we've witnessed, we've experienced situations where we've been verbally attacked, or even by accident. We've been in traumatic situations like car accidents and situations, and what has happened, that has become a vivid memory. We can easily recall that situation straight up, and sometimes we don't even know what to do with it. Sometimes it has affected us. And how it affects us is when someone has verbally wanted to correct us, but what's happened is we've taken it as criticism, and that criticism has really affected us, and it's like we've taken back to this, and you go, some of it might be true, some of it might be just an accusation, and some of it we've just got to, well, what do we do with that? So that's what we're going to do and focus on. Those vivid memories that have happened in our lives. All right, so we've got to also understand how we take in that information. We take it in with our eyes, our smell. You might think, oh, that's a weird thing to take a vivid memory with. It is, because what happens in that situation is what's called an atmosphere. And this is like with a computer, it's our hard drive. But the thing is, with our hard drive in our body, we take it in I'm talking like 5D, 6D, which means there's that many different dimensions in that we take on board, like the atmosphere, like the time of year that something has happened. Like if you go say to a theme park or somewhere like that, and you've had a great experience, you remember the ambience of the day and the temperature. So when you go have a situation like years later, and that particular ambience, that memory has become really easy to remember. So what we call that a trigger. That is a trigger for that memory. And what happens is when we go through a traumatic situation with that trigger, we can recall easily. Now, if you've had a real, I'm going to say, for instance, a traumatic upbringing, and someone has yelled at you, anyone who wants to correct you or say something to you, your memory, or actually your emotion, goes into hyperdrive straight up, and it's like saying, your heart's going, oh, here we go again. And you want to start ready to defend yourself. It's like the ready to fight fight or flight response in that. So what we've got to do is understand that there is an emotion connected to that memory. It's very important to understand, because what happens is, with that, we just go through so many situations, and if you've had multiple of these, you're almost like, and your brain is constantly thinking and jumping from one situation to another, and there's like what's become like a hypervigilance with with people. And sometimes a response from that is like we can withdraw from people, or we become argumentative, and we don't respond to people very well. So what we're going to do is try and get to a place where we can start handing these things over, start working them out, and I admit it's like unraveling spaghetti. Why? Because we see it as a mess, our mental mess, and we want to start bringing that and unraveling it and working it through, and our thinking will become so much clearer. The cloud will lift, our thinking will clear, and we will start seeing the blue sky, and we can start responding. And when we respond, we can be creative with that thinking. But what we've got to do, in essence, I'll go straight to the punchline, in that what we can do is transform our vivid memory back into a RAM, or random access memory. The thing about random access memory, we can forget it. But that's so what we've got to do is take out the emotion of that memory, and that's what Jesus does. Now we've got to understand how he does that, and that's what we will talk about next time. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.